Hello, my name is Christian Martius, and this is Mercifully Short Stories, a podcast telling tales for the distracted, hyperactive, and noticeably absent. Episode 2 of Mercifully Short Stories contains a piece called Small Faces, which is written by me and read by the wonderful Zorianna Zurba.
Small Faces. My son is 3 years old, not 17. But in my kitchen, there's an illustration of a teenager that is supposed to be of my son. I remember when the artist tried to capture Thomas and watching the face emerge from the paper. The initial anomalies or unfamiliarity could have been artistic flourishes, abstractions which allowed Marge to render her signature. But the eyes in the picture showed more life in them than my little boy had experienced. His curly hair was ignored and replaced with a French crop. Sharper angles formed on his cheeks, and his chin stretched down to remove his small round face. This artifice was amplified by its creator pausing between strokes of her pencil to study the soon-to-be unwilling subject, and then moving her hand accordingly, as if the image was true, but the image looked nothing like my son. Nothing at all. Thomas managed to be inactive enough to be created in 2 dimensions. My own best drawing was probably scrawled on the back of a school exercise book when I was a teenager, maybe some crude version of a lead singer in a band I liked back then. Although I could probably produce a better facsimile of my boy than the one that was handed to me in the mall next to the fountain in Marge's portraiture alcove. She even said to me, "What do you think?" I was aghast, but not indignant. And in the moment, I said, "It's just fine." I couldn't find the words to express my feelings. There was shock, but also an understanding that no one really sees the world the same way you do, more or less. In the end, I thanked her, and I just took the picture home with me. Weeks later, I found myself in my neighborhood secondhand record store. My husband had Thomas, and so I was free to flick through old records without any pleas for food or ideas from my imagination. Most of the records were of the classic rock variety, museum pieces from half a century ago. In this heaving pile of history, there was a record by the band called the Small Faces. And as is often the case, it's the covers of the books and records that strike me first. And I pulled the picture sleeve out as soon as I saw it. And for the first time, I ended up buying a record for the first time for the cover photograph alone. "Look, it's Thomas," I said. Well, not our Thomas, but the one in the picture. Mark balanced the cover in one hand like a waiter's plate. The record played on the turntable behind him. The song was called All or Nothing. Steve Marriott, it says here. He's the lead singer? Uncanny, isn't it? Mark stared into the image, examined the wispy blonde hair, the cheeky street urchin smile. Yeah, for sure. Maybe the artist has some kind of thing for the lead singer of the Small Faces. "You think?" I said. The next day, I went looking for Marge. She was in her usual spot in the mall by the fountain. A dark-haired boy about 6 fidgeted in front of her. From where I was standing, I could see the portrait on paper take form. That hippie mod 60s star look is familiar to me now, and it's the same image that I have in my apartment of a boy I've never met, and who isn't even alive. And maybe my neighbor has one too, and the people on my street, and in the neighborhood, and all have the same small face on the shelf somewhere, which looks nothing like their children. I often look at my version, hoping to see my own son in that picture, Maybe one day I will.
I hope you enjoyed this brief little story and it hasn't taken up too much of your time. More fleeting episodes of Mercifully Short Stories will be available for your instant pleasure soon.